Welcome back to Hey Kentucky. We are now happy to be joined with somebody we've talked a lot about on this show, Richmond Representative Wesley Morgan. Representative, how are you, sir?
I'm doing fine, Matt.
Thank you for joining us here. Now, you were defeated in the primary a couple of weeks ago. And since then, I know you've been frustrated. You even at one point talked about quitting the Republican Party. What is the basis of your frustration beyond just being disappointed you lost?
Well, you know, the Republican Party has got so its leadership from the top, being McConnell, all the way down to Hoover and Majority Leader Shell. The leadership of the House of Representatives and so forth, I've been so disenchanted with them on the way that they conduct themselves and the way that they are being controlled by the Chamber of Commerce of the state of Kentucky. And I felt like that they're more aligned with the people who have money rather than people who are just working common individuals. In fact, I remember being on a conference call once when Speaker Hoover tried to get all the members to turn in all of their money into the Republican Party, because they said once they got elected in the majority, trust me, you'll never have to worry about your money anymore.
Do you say the majority and the leadership, one of the leadership members, Shell, was defeated in the primary. Do you feel like they sort of targeted you at all? I mean, you were a very controversial member. Did you feel like they had your back?
They never had my back, not from day one. In fact, Shell, once I called out Speaker Hoover for his crimes against this lady for sexual harassment, Shell never spoke to me probably for 4 or 5 months. And you know, a majority leader is supposed to keep the caucus together. He doesn't supposed to isolate and keep a caucus split. But he actually, me and what we call the Ganga 8, which was Phil Moffitt and 7 other representatives who was calling for Speaker Hoover's expulsion or his resignation, not only from the speakership but from the House itself, all those people were penalized and retaliated against.
Okay, so how were they? So let's take a step back. When the allegations came out against Speaker Hoover and 3 other members, you thought all 4 should resign. Am I correct about that?
Yes.
And you called for that at the time. What was your basis for that?
Well, what happened was that day, in fact, I had left a caucus meeting earlier that day when Majority Leader Shell had said that we all had agreed to keep Hoover, which that was not true. That was the impression that a lot of the members gave. But on the way home, you know, we started hearing some backlash and stuff out of my district. And then the next morning, a girl by the name of Daisy Olivo, who is head of the communications department in the Speaker's office, called me and said, Wesley, you have no idea what has been going on. And she said, and it's because I was a federal agent, ex-federal agent. She called me and it started telling me of what all how he had sexually harassed this girl that worked in her office. But not only had he done that, then he retaliated against Olivo and some of the people that was in that office, which became a federal violation under the Hobbs Act.
But did you have proof of any of that? I mean, you say all that like it's definitive. I mean, do you have proof of any of it?
Well, from what I've witnessed myself, and her word was basically
what do you mean what you've witnessed?
Well, I've seen some of the stuff that Hoover's done. Hoover is a very paranoid man.
Do you say, did he retaliate against you personally?
I found out that day that he had retaliated against me. In fact, he did not like me from the very first day. And that was part of the Olivo told me about that too, that I had some, as you know, some items that had come out in the paper and some things that you'd even said on this program about self-serving liquor bills and not paying your taxes and boat rentals and things like that. And she told me, she said, Wesley, she said, you don't know this, but he's the orchestrator of all that stuff.
But you don't, I mean, again, it's a pretty strong allegation to say that you witnessed and believes there were retaliation about the sexual harassment. You don't have proof of that yourself, do you?
Only because of what Daisy Olivo and Brad Metcalf said. But what I did was I picked up the phone and called the FBI, and I said, now you tell the FBI what you've told me. I also had her to call.
So you called the FBI on the leadership of your own party in the House?
Yes, I did.
And what was the resolution of that?
All I know is that they went and interviewed Daisy Olivo and a couple of other people. But I also had Daisy Olivo call Phil Moffitt and Jason Nemus. And Jason Nemus recorded the conversation because rather than just stepping out on a limb, I wanted to make sure that she was willing to tell that story to other people, and she did.
Do you believe at this time that all 4 of those members are still in the House if they win their elections this fall? Do you believe they should still be there?
I never did have anything to say about Representative Linder. I didn't have any idea what he did or did not do. The same as for DeCesare. I didn't really know anything that Representative DeCesare had anything to do. The only thing I did have personal knowledge on was Michael Meredith, one of the representatives, had been trying to seduce my daughter, who worked in the governor's office, and had been sending her text messages and stuff. And he's a married man, and I had text on the I believe I did Twitter, that I didn't raise my daughter and send her through law school for her to become some representative's concubine at the Capitol. After Speaker Hoover resigned as Speaker, and when about the first 2 or 3 days of this session, last session in January, I walked into David Osborne's office, who became Speaker, and I looked at him and I said, David, I said, what did I do? What is wrong? Why was this done to me? And this is what he said. He said, Wesley, he said, Jeff Hoover is a paranoid man. And he believed that you were very tight with the governor, and he thought that you should not be in the House so that you would be relaying information over to the governor's office.
You're saying the Speaker of the House, David Osborne, said to you that the former Speaker of the House tried to get you out of office?
Yes.
Well, Mr. Morgan, thank you very much.